Hello, this is speech 2 for communications with Professor McDaniels. I chose to do my presentation on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I chose to start off with a quote, and it says, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." My name is Marissa Maldonado, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King led the movement to end segregation and counter prejudice in the United States through peaceful protest. Dr. King led a movement of nonviolent protest to fight racial injustice in the United States. The first example began in 1955. It was the Montgomery boycott in southern state of Alabama. Continuing on to my first point, Martin Luther King Jr. was the main leader of the Montgomery boycott, which sparked the nation by Rosa Parks' act of refusal to give up her seat to a white woman. According to Time magazine, the Montgomery bus boycott continued on for 381 days and places severe economic strain on the public transit system and downtown business owners, according to Time magazine. Martin Luther King played the key role in the Montgomery bus boycott. Without his contributions, the boycott and leading the fight to racial injustice, civil rights wouldn't have become equal to all. Nevertheless, the road to racial justice was never easy. Although Dr. King's intentions were to remain peaceful, him and his many advocates were met with violence. According to Washington Post's Nanine Brown, states that on October 20th, 1958, Martin Luther King was actually stabbed while signing books in Bluestein's department store in Harlem, while a woman by the name of Izola Ward Curry asked if he was Martin Luther King. He said yes. She then took out a letter opener and sliced Dr. King's hand before plunging a 7-inch blade into the side of his chest. He was asked to identify her before going into a 4-hour surgery. 2 of his ribs and part of his breastplate were removed. The attack would set the narrative on how King's life would play out in his fight for justice. Some simply did not like his fight towards equality and did not agree with his philosophy. Continuing on to some of Dr. King's influences and his civil disobedience and nonviolent practices, Dr. King had many influences, but mostly Mahatma Gandhi, Howard Thurman, and by his Baptist roots. In relation to how Dr. King's Baptist background contributed to his teaching, Ambrosiano states that in the face of modern condition, the blacks they were only worth their labor power black churches came along and affirmed that there was a mode of life far beyond the woundings that came along with black existence in America. Among many other leaders, Dr. King's religious background for racial injustice helped people of color and made them see they were worthy in God's eyes. In conclusion of Martin Luther King's most memorable works is his "I Have a Dream" speech. The famous speech was delivered on August 18, 1968, and was called to action to end segregation and racism. Let us not seek satisfaction or thirst for freedom by drinking the cup of bitterness and hatred. His life was tragically cut short in 1968 by being assassinated. His accomplishments and legacy for social injustices will continue to live on. Thank you.